This video is for you. If you want to hear raw, honest experiences, actionable, practical tips that you can implement in your own home with your own family during pre-deployment, deployment, and redeployment. And some of this is just going to be very raw, a little juicy. You are going to be encouraged and feel equipped. And I'm so excited to be able to share this with you. As somebody who has been a military spouse for almost 15 years, we are on our 11th deployment. As a couple, I'm a special operations spouse. I also served on active duty as an engineer officer for 5.5 years, and I did a 9-month combat deployment to Afghanistan. Before Luke went on this deployment, despite all these years of experiences, I still YouTubed tips for deployment, and I was extremely dissatisfied. That's why I'm making this video for you today, and I hope that you will find it practical, applicable, helpful, and encouraging. I'm going to start by sharing 3 mistakes that I have made during the pre-deployment seasons so that you don't make them for yourself. I used to really struggle with an adopting, I don't need your help, I can do it myself, I don't need you type of sentiment, and those can come out as daggers towards our husbands. I did it as a way of coping before the deployment actually happened so that I could show myself that I could handle all the little things around the house without Luke before he actually left and ripped that Band-Aid off. It wasn't until he told me, Ash, I'm still here. I want to help. Don't block me out yet. That it was so clear to me how pervasive a problem that this had been for years leading up to deployments. On the opposite end of the spectrum, which I'm also guilty of during different pre-deployment seasons, is making my husband a honey-do list of all the things that I want him to do in the last weeks and days before he deploys because I didn't trust my extremely competent husband to remember all of the things. A much better way to go about this is to say, hey, I feel like my brain is like a bird's nest and I have all these concerns before you leave. I feel like I would just have clarity and peace of mind if I wrote them all out bullet point style, and then you can add to the list if you want so that we are both on the same page of everything that needs to get done for us as a family before you leave. And once your man sees the list on a whiteboard, chances are he's probably just going to do most of the things himself because your man is a doer. And this way you'll both have clarity of mind minus any nagging or complaining. Your big kids don't need to know more than 1 month in advance before your spouse deploys. Plans change, dates get shifted. You, as their mother, are to carry that emotional roller coaster of a burden for the family until he actually goes. If you only have younger kids at home, then they need to know 1 week prior that daddy is going to be deploying. These are my top 13 things that are going to make your deployment experience better for him, you, and your entire family. Go to your local post office and pick up a few large flat rate boxes. I aim to send a care package once every other month with things that he actually wants. So go ahead and ask your husband what he wants. Ensure that you put a simple note card in there with a brief love letter from you, letting him know how much you respect him as a man, as your husband, as the father to your children. It can just be a couple of sentences, and this is something that he's probably going to keep in his pocket or in his wallet. He's going to keep it close to him. Include a few pictures that you got printed from your phone of him and the kids, or selfies that you took with him that he has never seen before. He is going to put these on the back of his bunk or in his desk area and be reminded of you and the kids in a way that it wasn't like, post the picture, in a way that was just organic and natural, and that will be so special to him. For older kids, show them on a regular flip calendar how long you expect dad to be gone for so that they have it marked on when he is predicted to come home. With your younger children, cut out a construction paper daisy chain and hang it up in your child's room so that she can be responsible for ripping off a daisy chain each Sunday that will annotate how many more weeks dad has until he comes back home. Mom tip: ensure that you have more of that exact same construction paper on hand in case you need to sneak additional rings on that daisy chain in case dad's plans get changed. You can play a key role in prepping your husband with talking points unique to each individual child so that he's not bringing up things from months ago that your kid has forgot about when they do get a chance to FaceTime. This way, he knows to encourage your son Riker that he's gotten 100% on his last 4 spelling tests. And wow, Gavin, I heard that you went fishing and caught a bass. Tell me about it. Each child will feel so seen and recognized by dad simply because you gave him little tidbits of what's been going on in their life. Support your kids' social development and improve their relationship with dad by suggesting questions when you guys are just driving in the car or around the dinner table that won't end in a yes or no answer or violate security when your kids ask him. They can say something like, Dad, what's your favorite dinner that you get there? What was your favorite thing to do or play when you were my age? What's your favorite vacation that we've been on together and why? Your husband will feel like he is really growing and getting to know each child better in a way that's really simple, just because you taught them how to socially interact. You as mom need to take on the role of primary spiritual leader within your home during your husband's absence. It's so easy to get complacent on this. It was during Luke's 8th deployment that I started Wednesday night Bible time. This meant I read a Bible story from the Children's Bible, followed by popcorn. It became a weekly tradition. Now, years down the road, we do Bible time pretty much 5 to 6 days per week. We work on memory verses, and it is showing my kids what the priority is here in the Keller household. It isn't sports, it isn't work, it isn't the things of this world, it is Jesus Christ himself. So in your husband's absence, don't get complacent in this extremely important area of your development and your children's development, things that matter for eternity. So talk to them as you walk by the way, when you lie down, when you rise, just a normal part of your ongoing life together as a family. When your older kids ask you a theology question, because curious minds will, and maybe the answer isn't immediately obvious to you, or maybe you know the gist of the answer, you can respond by saying something like, that is a great question. I really want to ask dad's input on this and get back to you. Your husband will feel so respected and honored that you brought a theology question to him so that he can still support the family from afar, and so that you can come back to your child with a well-researched and clear, truthful answer that you as a husband and wife team talked about together, and then you shared with your child who asked the question. It is a good thing for your relationship to ask him once over the course of his deployment a couple of hard questions. You can ask him, are there any women there have shown interest in you or have hit on you? And chances are he'll probably laugh and say, no, like, I don't have time for that. But if his answer isn't, or it brings up some feelings of guilt or something that he wants to share with you, you're just letting him know in a very natural way. The door is open to come to me if you want to talk about anything. This next one, you might want to preface with something like, half of me doesn't even want to ask you this question because I respect you so much. But I also know that you are a human man and that we have been apart for a long time, and the temptation might be intensely strong since it's what most men do. But have you been struggling with wanting to look at porn or anything like that since we've been apart? No matter what his answer, it is your duty to speak calmly and let him know that you are somebody who is bone of his bone, flesh of his flesh. You are here with him through thick and thin, that you want to work through hard things together. And hopefully his answer is like, no, I stay far from that. I've been working out twice a day. I've just been keeping myself so busy. You don't need to worry about that from me. But if that's not his answer, then you need to know that you're the one who asked the question and that it is so respectful that he had integrity to tell you the truth. And now it is something that you can lift up to the Lord with prayer, regardless of his answer, whether he said, yeah, I have, or no, I've been staying away completely. You need to be a diligently praying wife, interceding on his behalf to the Lord, because temptations are real. The lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, the pride of life, you're both going to struggle, even if it looks completely different ways. You need to be diligently praying for your husband during your deployment and your time apart. If you want to be a mother who isn't just surviving, but you are excellent, then you need to pay or swap out with a friend for 2 to 3 hour block every other week so that you can get out and do something on your own. It doesn't matter what you do. I have done everything from plan my own little triathlon to stroll around Home Goods, just browsing with nobody rushing me. We've also done a dinner date at a Japanese restaurant, a place where my kids are not interested in eating, but I could actually dress up and FaceTime with Luke, and we were able to talk to each other about our dreams, our struggles, and laugh. I'm so glad that I have had a sitter for a couple hours pretty much every other week to allow me to come back as a more patient, refreshed, and kind and loving mom to my children. I graciously say yes pretty much anytime anybody offers any sort of help during deployment. We don't have any family within an 11-hour radius. 0. So remember that you can actually bless another woman by saying yes when she wants to bring your family dinner, by allowing her to use her gifts of generosity or cooking or her words of encouragement to pour into you and your family. A couple of weeks ago, Gavin had a severe set of splinters on the bottom pad of his foot. I felt so out of place without Luke there, who loves to sweep in and confidently handle medical problems with children who are in a lot of pain. It was very difficult for me to work through with him, yet my son felt so grateful. A couple of days ago, I realized that I hadn't started my husband's vehicle enough and that the battery had died. And so I needed to go ahead and jumpstart it, something that I really don't enjoy doing. Then, once it got started, it showed me that the pressure was really low in one of the tires. So I had to sit my big ol' 34-week pregnant self on the ground of a parking lot and fill up the tires with air. It will be so tempting for you on so many occasions as a wife and as a mother within earshot of your children. You are going to want to say the truth. You're going to want to say, I wish your father were here. Don't do it. Resist that temptation. You are to be a woman who controls your tongue, who exhibits self-control, a fruit of the Spirit. Godly mothers are to do all things without grumbling. We are told to do not be anxious about anything, but with prayer and supplication and thanksgiving, let your requests be known to God. This doesn't mean that you pretend to your children like everything is perfect all of the time. What it does mean is that you bring your anxieties, your concerns, your worries, your exhaustion to the feet of your perfect Father, and they can hear you verbally pray to Him and how you are seeking His perfect support. You are modeling to your children that they are not to be grumbling, complaining, resentful of dad's absence in their life for these weeks or months or however long it is, maybe a full year, but showing them who to bring their concerns to. Bring them to the Lord, because nobody else can fill that void of missing daddy, of missing your husband so deeply than God Himself. Last tip for deployment is my favorite because it is so actionable progress oriented and results driven, you need to follow an exercise program from someone that you trust. Don't just try to wing random workouts on your own in no particular order just to stay active. A, because you want to be a good steward, honoring your very limited time to exercise. And B, you need to be energetic and capable as a mom in your husband's absence. All of my GlowBodyPT programs are click and go, follow along videos on your own schedule where it feels like you are training with a professional trainer with you in your living room who's also your best friend. So you get that adult interaction in the day, even if you didn't actually leave your home and you're only surrounded by kids the entire day. Workouts get harder every 2 weeks because they are designed to be progressive in nature. This way, you don't have time to get bored. Your body doesn't have time to plateau. And when you follow my programs, such as the 10-minute plan, which I created during Luke's 9th deployment because I so desperately needed snack-sized workouts that would get me visible results in a really short amount of time and felt super doable as a mom. When you follow something like the 10-minute plan or Firm 30 or my 12-week post-pregnancy plan or the free prenatal program, I have so many workout programs for different seasons of life to meet you right where you're at. You can't not get results. If you follow it, you're guaranteed to feel and to see aesthetic and also internal improvements over time while your husband's gone. So you're really deliberately improving yourself when he's away. 4 pro tips to make your reintegration experience the best possible one when your husband comes home. I have been diligently working on a particular 3-year-old who doesn't want to say please with using consistent manners. If Luke comes home and gives into a bossy attitude and immediately gives her what she wants, I already know that my resentment thermometer is going to go through the roof. It is so important for you to set aside one-on-one time with your husband and say, hey, can we just talk about some of the ways that I've been disciplining the kids lately? What's been working, what hasn't worked, who has really improved, and what each child is currently struggling with. This will make him feel brought into the inner circle, that you two are on the same team, that when one particular child gets up after dinner and tries to go to use the restroom and never wants to help do the dishes or do cleanup like the rest of the family is, you're both on the same page of what the consequence is or how to react in that particular situation, simply because you had a 20-minute debrief of what you're doing with each child in this particular phase now that he's back home. Chances are this next one comes super natural to your man. But after a few days or a couple of weeks, you might want to put in a smidge of effort in the bedroom. This might mean that you order yourself a piece of lingerie while he's gone from a no models company and then let him know, I ordered this while you were gone when I was thinking of you and I was waiting to wear it until now that you're home. Or you could grab one of his deployment t-shirts with a little something underneath, focus on the little, and he is going to be delighted. Remember, it doesn't take much for him to feel desired, and that's what he really wants. You can be deliberately proactive and not pushy, since you're the one who's typically been managing the family's calendar for the past several months, to ensure that you facilitate one-on-one time with dad and each individual child while not holding any resentment at all, even if you feel like he is the fun parent. Your child and their father need that time together. Like a sponge, I want you to absorb this last tip. Be patient with your husband when he comes home from deployment and his texts are pinging like crazy. When you notice that he is more distracted on his phone than he used to be. When you hear some foul language come out of his mouth, instead of immediately correcting him, give him the time and space to witness your conduct, to hear how you speak in the home, the words that come out of your mouth, and whatever you do, don't be a nagging wife. In Proverbs, we learn that it is better for a man to live on the corner of a roof than to share a home with a nagging wife. Nagging wives are also referred to as leaky faucets. That doesn't need to be you. You can be a witness without saying a word to your husband by giving him that time to self-wean from some bad habits that he probably really doesn't want, to get back into a state of being the type of husband and father that he wants to be within your home. Please give me a thumbs up if you heard anything helpful in this video. Share it with your military spouse friends who will probably be honored that you took the time out of your life to send them something that is helpful and relatable to them, and they'll remember you for it. Subscribe to GlowBodyPT YouTube. Know that I am not an expert as far as being a military spouse, but I am an expert in women's specific fitness, and the Lord is at the center of my life, and that permeates through the results you get in all GlowBodyPT workout programs. If there was anything that I missed today or that you want to add or something that really resonated with you, share it with us in the comments so that we can all benefit. Bye, ladies.